Welcome back to Legit Street Cars. In this video, we are going from start to finish on the IS250. So we're going to be completing all of the paint and body work, including rust repair. I have some work to do to the wheels. We're putting new tires on the Lexus and much more. So we're back at O'Hare Auto Body in Bensenville, Illinois. And if you guys haven't seen the last body shop video on the Lexus, I'll link it down below. But we discovered why this car was given a salvage title many years ago, and we found some horrific repairs that you guys are not gonna want to miss. So in this video, we're completing everything in preparation for the surprise giveaway. So sit back, relax, enjoy the show. You guys are gonna see quite the transformation. We're gonna kick this party off with some rust repair. Vince already started to grind this down a little bit to kind of see what we're working with, because we're gonna have to cut this out and weld in new metal. So we're just gonna keep on grinding and see how bad this hole is. Wow, are you serious? That is horrible. Look at that. This basically ballooned from all the rust just coming up. This is nasty. And it's all probably because of prep, right? Yeah.
Oh yeah. I love that quarter.
Woo!
That's the outer wheelhouse. That's all rusted.
Whoa. Free car, people. Free car. This is what you get. Salvage, rebuilt title stuff. Oh yeah, in all its glory. We're gonna fix it up though. Most people wouldn't. This car was destined to just be like this forever. Eventually it would have just rotted out and been in a junkyard, and now it's gonna be probably one of the nicest rebuilt title IS250s ever. We'll give it a record like that. Look at this. Okay, here we go. I gotta take a souvenir from all of my projects, and I think this is gonna be it right here. I said, that's gotta be really satisfying, just to cut the cancer out. This is awesome. So you can get a really good look at this here. This is the quarter, and then this is the outer wheelhouse. So the rust is definitely eating away at that as well. So it's almost like we have two layers that we're gonna have to replace. Nice. So they just overlapped the quarter. That could have been why it rusted as well. Yeah, it's just overall just a really bad hack job.
A lot of them will put a sleeve in there, so you got a panel weld to. Toyota don't recommend it. It makes it too strong. It won't crush when it gets hit because of the way they design it. You gotta put the right welds in everywhere, so that way the car still crushes the right way when it gets hit.
So they spliced the quarter in right here. That's why it rotted out. We have the old quarter and the new quarter panel right here. And that was the big issue. They overlapped it, they didn't protect it, they didn't prep it, and we have rust, but it's not too bad actually. It's gonna use these as a template to come up with our new metal. That's why he spent a little bit extra time cutting them out precisely and not kind of deforming them. So we have a Jetta fender, a 14 Jetta fender. We're gonna cut it out, and that's going on the Lexus. So Germany meets Japan? I don't know. This is the best. This is seriously good. It has a lip, just like the factory. So he cut it out a little bit larger so he can grind this down so it's a perfect fit. But this is really cool. So who's got better quality metal, Vince? Volkswagen or Toyota?
Oh, the Germans do.
The Germans? I mean, it looks thicker right off the bat, even the parts that aren't rusted up.
Oh yeah, a little bit.
So that's why Vince cut this piece out a little larger, and also why he cut the hole out with some meat to spare
That way he can trace this out perfectly. And he's also flattened out the inner lip so it matches the curvature from the Lexus. So this is now a Toyota part.
Okay, so our first coat of primer is down, which is super important to prevent rust in the first place. It's almost as important as treating your lawn with Sunday. So Sunday is a new approach to lawn care, and man, oh man, did this come at a great time for me. I've struggled forever with maintaining a decent looking lawn, and I just wanted something that took the guesswork out of what I needed, and that simply works. So Sunday sends a free soil sample test kit to your house, and they use satellite and climate data to build a specific plan for you. Then your custom tailored nutrients are delivered right to your door at the right time of the year, so you know you're giving your lawn what it needs no matter the season. I absolutely love their ridiculously easy to follow instructions. We're gonna do the soil test kit, then apply the Mighty Green right there, and then they tell you what's next. And if you have any questions, you have unlimited access to an expert lawn advisor, which is huge. Sunday is super simple to apply. Just attach your garden hose, open the valve, and you're off to the races. And they don't use any toxic pesticides, just ingredients you can pronounce like soy protein, molasses, and seaweed, to name a few. Best part is, if you guys click on my link in the video description box and use coupon code LEGIT10 at checkout, you're gonna save $10 on your very own smart lawn plan. So a big thanks to Sunday for taking care of my lawn and for supporting automotive content creators like myself. Now, let's get back to some rust repair.
So this is weld-through primer he's using, and this is gonna prevent the weld from corroding. So you can actually weld after spraying this on, and then we'll protect it again after it's welded, but this is just an extra prep step to make sure you're doing a good job. All right, so he's already put the primer on there, and now we're using a little bit of panel bond, and this is really gonna protect the weld. So it'll fill in any inconsistencies, any holes in the weld, and if they had done this, we might not be in this situation. And here it is with the panel bond. So we're not using this to attach anything, we're just using it to protect the weld, make this area stronger, that way we never run into this issue again. This is the only reason why they replaced this fender on this Volkswagen. There's a little dent here, you probably can't even see it. It's kind of a push up from here, but this was an insurance shop, so it gets a whole new fender, and now we have a nice donor part for this. So this isn't normally how they would fix this. This would call for a new quarter at this point, but this is an inexpensive car, so we're getting a little creative, like our epoxy.
And this is truly the definition of going green, recycling a fender to rebuild a Lexus. And look at this nice thick German metal. Okay, so Vince took one of the wheels off, and I borrowed some adhesive remover. So I'm just gonna soak this in for a little bit, and I'm hoping this will loosen up the plasti dip so we can just blast it off with the pressure washer. I used WD-40 in the last video, and it really didn't work at all. So all hands are on deck for this one. Got Vince over here welding in one of two of the new panels. So he's doing this in two sections. And at this point, I'm gonna go bring the wheel over to the pressure washer and see if we can get the plasti dip off. All right, so let's see if this stuff will finally blast off with the pressure washer now. It's better, much better than before. All right, I like it, I like it. Before, it would have taken me like hours to pick it off with my fingers. That adhesive remover is definitely working. I'm gonna hit it with a little bit more of this stuff. Oh wow, look at that. It's coming off with my fingers now, real easy. It's turned into like a goo. All right, let's get the pressure washer. Nice. Oh yeah, this is great.
I gotta say, this is very satisfying to do. Let me tell you, this stuff looks so bad, and I'm hoping it really protected these wheels and that they're in decent shape. All right, guys, this wheel is not turning out the way I had hoped. I've been at this for about 15-20 minutes with the pressure washer, and this is about as good as I've gotten it. And we've found out why these were plasti dipped in the first place, most likely because the factory finish is peeling off, and this will never end. It'll continue to peel, and this wheel will look horrible. So I'm also having an issue with some spots here that I don't believe are all plasti dip. I think this is plasti dip and rust and brake dust that have just kind of combined to form a very thick layer, and even with a plastic wedge, I can't get this stuff off easily. So I think these wheels are a great candidate to send them out, have them completely stripped down and re-powder coated, and then put the new tires on and call it a day. But unfortunately, we're gonna have to wait on that one because I have to have the car at LegitStreetCars. I gotta remove all these wheels, and then it's gonna take a week before I get them back. So in the next video after this one, the detail video of the car, we'll get these wheels done. But luckily, we have a ton of other work to do. So Vince just got done spraying some more primer on his new piece that he welded on, and now he's matching up the piece of the quarter panel that he'd cut out before onto the Volkswagen fender so he can cut out another piece, just like he did with the inner wheelhouse. All right, that's all scribed out and ready to get cut. So this is where he fine-tunes the piece right on the car. So it's gonna be custom made to fit this arch perfectly, just like the inner piece that he made. And the Volkswagen quarter panel graft is complete. So Vince spent a lot of time in this area. This is what we're gonna see, and the more time spent now means less body filler later. So this is looking really, really good. Very strong German metal right here. And eventually we're not gonna see any of this. All right, so next up, Vince is mixing up some all metal. This is a hardener right there, and this is gonna be our first layer of filler. This stuff straight up looks like liquid metal. All right, so Vince is all done sanding the all metal, and now he has a second layer of body filler that he is shaping to the quarter panel. And just like that, Vince is done sanding the body filler. So he uses a liberal amount of this stuff, but most of it gets sanded away, and now it's perfectly smooth and ready for the final putty. So right now he's mixing the hardener in to make sure that this is very consistent. So just like the other filler, he's applying quite a bit of this, and then it'll take about a half hour for this to dry, and then he'll be back at sanding again to make sure that the form is just right. We're doing quite the cleaning now. Look at that. That was all tucked in underneath the rocker panel. So right now Vince is making it easier for the paint department by removing a few pieces of the car, including the door, the rocker, molding, and then anything in this area here, just to make it easier to blend the paint in. And Vince is even removing this right side windshield molding, so that way there won't be a hard line from the clear coat. So he's gonna be painting and blending the entire quarter panel, and then the car has its own natural brakes. So there's a brake between the quarter panel and the rear door, so that rear door doesn't need to be painted, but there's no brake along here. So they're gonna clear coat this entire section so that we don't ever see a line. and then it has its own natural brake right here. All right, so it's the next day and the IS250 is in the paint shop. It is primered, all masked off, and right now they're doing some block sanding and he is perfecting the body line. So in the case of body rot, it's hard to get the panel perfect over there in the body shop. So in the paint department, they have laid down the primer and they're gonna be doing a little bit more sanding to make sure that this body line is absolutely perfect. So this is a tool I have yet to see, but this is a method of drawing out the factory body line so that he knows exactly where to sand. So he's gonna be working off the putty that Vince had applied in his last stage in the body shop, and he'll just be sanding it just a little bit just to get it perfectly smooth. Now that we have the primer on here, it's gray. You can kind of see a shadow and see exactly where that line is supposed to be. So this is where the fine tuning really begins.
See, like right there, that would be basically follow the whole tape line. And right here, it kind of goes down. I gotta make it go into the tape so that way I know it's going in straight. And it takes a couple times too. I gotta lay down tape in this side, then block it from the top, then redo it again, block it from the bottom, and it'll get straight at one point.
So what you've seen him apply is a dark chalk, and this brings out any imperfections so he knows exactly where to sand. So while he sands, the chalk goes away, and if he sees a place where there's still a dark chalk mark, that means that there might be a divot and he knows he needs to sand just a little bit more. So it just gives him a really nice visual so he gets this final step just right. You can see that's a flat panel right there because we're not seeing any of the chalk marks, and he's using very, very little pressure with the DA. And he'll do this a few times just to make sure it's absolutely perfect. The more time he spends on prep work means less time in the paint booth, less imperfections means we get a good product. And this Lexus looks like nothing's ever been done to it. All right, we're in the final stages before the paint booth. So the bumpers are already in there. Jordan is getting ready to paint, so I'm gonna go meet him there in a couple minutes. But right now he is just doing the final clean on the IS250, making sure there is no dirt, no debris, no wax or oil. This is very, very important because it's gonna get sealed in with the paint and the clear coat if it's still on the surface. So he's just using a mixture of alcohol and water, and he's already been at this for quite some time. This is like the third time he's going over it. They just wanna make sure it's perfect, and these body lines are just amazing. You can't even tell anything was done. It looks just like the other side. So these bumpers are factory primed, but after some prep work, you do need to spray on a little bit of adhesion promoter. That way the color sticks. Okay, so Jordan did a final sand on the primered bumpers. He just wiped them down, and now it's time for some silver. So while the bumpers are baking, we are in their second paint booth, and Jordan has already applied the sealer / primer, and he's just sanding it down, making sure it's perfectly smooth. This is gonna get wiped, and then it's time for some more silver. All right, so it's been about 25 minutes. The bumpers have been baking at 150 degrees. It's about 100 degrees in here right now, so still really hot, and now it's time for some clear coat on the bumpers, and then we're moving over to hit the car. They'll bake, and that's it. So the Lexus baked in the paint booth for about an hour at 150 degrees, and it's the next day, and the paint job is complete. And just take a look at this quality. The paint match is perfect. They haven't even buffed it yet. It looks so, so good. And the body line is absolutely perfect. You'd never be able to tell anything was done. And the guys here at O'Hare Auto Body also painted my Jeep Grand Cherokee from a few videos ago. They do such a good job. The paint match is spot on. Jordan spent like an hour with little swatches going back and forth trying to get this just perfect. And at this point, they just have to buff out the bumpers and the quarter, and then everything is getting reassembled, and this IS250 is gonna look like a car again. Very nice, Vince, very nice. Vince got this door on in about 5 seconds. It was too quick for me to get the camera going, and it fits perfectly. It's like putting Legos together, right, Vince?
Yep. Oh, yeah.
All right, well, here's something else I've never seen before. This is a tool that is going to pull out the front core and make this headlight fit better. Probably can't see it on video, and it doesn't look too bad, but Vince wants to get this perfect, and since this was whacked, oh, this is cool. It's literally pulling it out right now. I can feel it. Ah, this is crazy. The headlight's kind of like sinking back in and lining up. So since this thing was hit right here and they didn't replace any of this stuff, he needs to pull it out. So normally you do this on a frame machine, but this is such a small adjustment that you can use this manual tool right here. That's what it's made for. And just kind of tweak it out just a little bit. So just that little tweak on the core support is what did it. Cool. This is awesome. So this tool and the little wooden tool that we saw where he was drawing the line out in the quarter, never seen those before. You learn something new every single day. And now we have a perfectly lined up headlight. So on this side, he just needs a little bit of an adjustment. This light, I thought honestly was great, but it can be better. I wish you guys were here. This is so cool. It's getting more flush as he pulls on it. And that's what you call a headlight adjustment right there. I'm trying to keep some kind of budget here, so Vince saved our front bumper foam. Didn't need to be replaced, it had a crack right here, so he just glued it together. It's as good as new, it's just a little dirty, but no one's ever gonna see that. All right, with the foam installed, we have the last major piece of the puzzle going on, our freshly painted front bumper. Oh man, this is already looking sweet. This car is gonna be so nice. And most of this front bumper just kind of snaps in place. There's a few bolts underneath, a couple on top. Most of it is clips though. All right, the guys at O'Hare Auto Body have completed their portion of Project Lexus IS250 Rescue. I just made that up right now. They are done with the paint and body portion, minus this bottom valence piece. We had some issue with parts, so that will be in the next video. But overall, this car is looking so good. I'm so glad we went ahead and replaced these headlights. And in the next video, during the detail, we're gonna try and make the fog lights look just as good. We have a few little touch-up things to do. I have some touch-up paint, so I'm gonna do as much of this kind of stuff as possible. So we'll do that DIY style in the next video. But just take a look at this quarter panel. You can't even tell anything was done. That's the idea. It just blends seamlessly into the rest of the car, which is going to look infinitely better in the next video when we buff and polish this thing out. And this side honestly doesn't look too bad. The driver's side looks to have been more abandoned than the passenger side. So you guys can probably see a color difference between the bumper and this side of the car, and that's because it's covered in rail dust on the driver's side. So see this orangey rust looking stuff? That is basically all over this side of the car, and it's kind of discolored it, and this is just generally really nasty. It probably hasn't been cleaned in years. So in the next video, Chicago Auto Pros is coming out to give me a hand with the buff and polish, and we're gonna also take care of these wheels, of course. And I think the most satisfying part of that video will be the interior detail. So this is exactly how I got the Lexus, and nothing is torn. The headliner is in good condition, but it's just generally very, very worn and dirty. Just, yeah, I mean, you know, this kind of speaks for itself. So this is how I got it, minus those gloves right there. Those are mine. So we have a ton of cleaning to do in the interior, but I don't think it's too far gone. I think we're gonna be able to save this one, especially with the help from Chicago Auto Pros. So yeah, it's just pretty bad in here. It doesn't really smell that bad, but it looks bad. But I gotta say, Vince and Jordan and the team at O'Hare knocked it out of the park. This body line looks so, so good. I learned a lot in this video as well. We got to see some methods that I've never seen before. I don't know about you guys, but just look at this. Just perfection. I cannot wait to make the rest of the car match this work. And they didn't even buff anything out. I told them not to, since we're doing it in the next video. And quite honestly, I don't even think it needs a buff where they painted it. So with that, I hope you guys really enjoyed this video. If you did, give it a big thumbs up, subscribe if you haven't already, share the video, and most importantly, have an awesome day. I'll catch all of you in the next one.